Christopher, how we doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, Greg?
Yeah,
Happy Victory Sunday.
yeah, it's a delightful victory Sunday. Sitting here, I was doing better when I was watching both the Bengals and the Patriots lose, but you
Yeah,
know,
that was a happier time of today, but
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
it's this is all how it works. So right now, everybody joining in, we are sitting here in the witching hour of these 4 o'clock games. We've got the Broncos beating the Cardinals. That one doesn't really matter. We've got the Patriots beating the Raiders by 7. That one, you know, I'd enjoy it more if the Patriots lost, but I'd rather the Patriots are in the playoffs than the Chargers and the Dolphins or something like that. So we've got the Chargers beating the Titans, which will make it interesting, where Jacksonville is still alive to win the AFC South. And the Buccaneers have,
That's crazy.
yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars could actually still win the division. And now we've got the Buccaneers have blown a 17-0 lead on the Bengals and are currently losing 27-17. And the Buccaneers just had their 5th second half turnover. So pretty weird afternoon here for a while.
It's great if you're a Tom Brady hater, I guess.
I
Uh,
I am, in fact, a Tom Brady hater, so I do appreciate that
I'm a
piece of it.
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan first, so
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
the Cincinnati losing would have been a nice little bit of breathing room, but we do get a chance to play them and to knock them off ourselves.
Yeah, I actually had a couple fans reach out and were asking some questions about that, and ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Like if the Bengals win today and then lose to the Bills, today wouldn't really matter. If the Bengals lose today and then beat the Bills, today wouldn't really matter. So the Bills still have to win head to head. The Bills need to win out to maintain that. And the reason they need to win out is we saw the Houston Texans almost pull off
Oh my
a win
God.
against the Chiefs today.
In case you were wondering if what could if the like the realm of possibility in the NFL is not completely infinite, right? Like
Well,
the Texans almost beat the Chiefs.
Aaron had a really good tweet earlier. We get so many comments all the time about, oh man, it doesn't matter. The Chiefs aren't going to lose again this year. The Bengals aren't going to lose again this year. Whatever, whoever's going to like rattle off wins to finish the season, and like the Houston Texans had the ball in the second possession of overtime with an opportunity to win and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Like that's the two biggest extremes in the NFL. The Texans are the worst team in the league, and they literally had the ball with an opportunity to win against the Chiefs.
It's just wild,
Yeah,
and you can't rule out. I mean, you can't assume, right, that the Chiefs are going to win out the rest of the way. I mean, after seeing that, it makes it even more of it rules out that line of thinking, right, where it's just like you assume that they're going to win out. I mean, it's still likely,
sure.
but it's not like a certainty.
Yeah, and it's a healthy reminder. That's great ammo for Sean McDermott for this Bears game coming up because you had the Bears gave a good fight to the Eagles today. Barely, the Eagles barely got by them. So a game team that's playing tough despite their 3-11 record. So we got to still show up and do the job next week. You can't take that for granted. And the same idea.
Yeah.
The Lions were sitting there at 1-6, I believe, and now have rattled off 6 of the last 7 to go 7-7 to put themselves back in the playoffs by beating the Jets today. It's any given Sunday is very, very real.
Yeah, and the Lions, they're a team that's been certainly on the rise. I mean, it was sort of starting to happen when we played them, but people were still kind of getting down on the Bills for playing them close. But I think if you look back now, they no one really should
Oh,
be too worried about that game being close. That the Lions have looked good.
yeah. It's their only loss in the last 7 games. They're 6-1
Yeah.
in this stretch, and their only loss is overtime against the Buffalo Bills.
And the Jets losing, certainly. I mean that I'm not mad about that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Actually, I'm going to pull up the standings here just to get an idea because at one point there's a really nice window where it kind of looked like the Bills had the exact playoff matchup that I personally am rooting for, where right now it's the Chiefs will play the Chargers, the Bengals will play the Dolphins, and the Bills will have a bye and play the winner of Tennessee or Baltimore.
Yeah, that would be a pretty
I mean,
nice
it's magnificent.
scenario.
It's magnificent.
Yeah.
If you give me the other four teams on the other side of the bracket are Kansas City, Cincinnati, Miami, and Los Angeles, and we get a bye and then play the winner of Tennessee, Baltimore, that's like if I could somehow cast that in stone, that would be my absolute perfect scenario.
Yeah. I mean, I guess would it be slightly better if the Patriots are one of those teams?
Um, yeah, like if the Patriots or Jets instead of the Chargers make the 7 seed, but it just gives the Chiefs an easier matchup. Like it,
Yeah.
I'd rather roll the dice that someone knocks off the Chiefs and then we end up having to play the Chargers or play the Dolphins because the Chiefs got knocked off instead of giving the Chiefs an easy gimme matchup against the Patriots. I'd rather them have the harder path.
Yeah, for sure.
So while Chris and I are up here, if anybody else wants to let us know they want to chime in or come up on stage, let us know. Plenty of opportunity for you guys to come up and ask questions or give us a take.
Yeah, and feel free to keep commenting on the tweet for the show too. I mean, I
Yeah,
see you guys are probably seeing I'm sharing those in here, so you can see what
yeah.
people are saying. If you don't, but I see our guy Eric, the other Eric, is here looking to talk.
Other
So we'll get you in here.
other Eric. For anybody who doesn't know,
GC's listening. What's up, GC?
hey, what's going on, Eric? How are you, man?
I just wanted to pop in real quick and say nobody better ever complain about the way the Bills win a football game ever again in the history of my life.
Well, yeah, you're saying that the Eagles barely squeaking by the Bears and the Texans almost beating the Chiefs and the Cowboys getting beat by the Jaguars. You're saying that's shouldn't make us appreciate the Bills beating playoff caliber Dolphins team.
Basically, what I'm saying is everything that we think about, that we know about the NFL, continues to smack us in the face every week. You think you know about the NFL? You don't know about the NFL.
Yeah, I think Vegas did pretty good today.
Espe-
Although the
Especially
one,
this late in
I
the
think,
season.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost getting weirder, right? I mean, you've got teams that are coming back into the hunt. Teams that are playing sport like the Bears, really, like they haven't phoned it in. But you see, Justin Fields has been coming on quite a bit, and they're just playing better football lately. It's been that's an interesting development. So yeah, it's like you can't make assumptions
The way
in
I see it
football.
is this late in the season, teams have more tape on their opponents, their tendencies come to life more, and you just have more information on your opponent to use against them. So this late in the season, that's why I think, it's in any week really, but as the season goes on, you're just going to see more and more teams, just putting up a fight. These guys all get paid millions of dollars. They're here to play.
well, and not only get paid millions of dollars. I actually had this debate with a neighbor earlier today because everybody jokes about, oh man, I wonder if that's the reason the NFL's rigged. And I always tell people, like, one, these idiot officials can barely get half the calls right. You think they can orchestrate some like carefully schemed NFL, fixing campaign without anybody spilling the beans and nobody ever finding out? And then on top of that, like people always assume, oh, well, aren't they tanking and trying to get a better draft pick? The players don't care about draft picks. The players care about putting up good film and getting their next contract and not getting released and trying to get their guaranteed money or playing so well that the team doesn't give a draft pick in their position. Like the players are going all out every single snap all the time. And sure, do you get some guys resting because of injuries? Do you get some guys, you know, packing it in from a health standpoint and not playing? Maybe. But the guys who are on the field, they're going all out. And you see that in Houston and Chicago and teams like that today.
Or they're losing their jobs.
Yeah, I just think
right. That's the
Yeah.
I just think
Go
there's
ahead, Eric.
way too many people involved to where you would have more proof, or definitely more people would have spoken out against it if the NFL was really rigged. There's way too many moving parts.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's fun to joke about when you see horrible calls and things like that, and things that swing the other direction. But it's just Occam's razor shows you the simplest answer is most of the time they're just humans doing the best job they can, and they mess up sometimes. MJ, what's going on, man? What's your question?
Hey, I so I have it's more like a sense of like how I'm feeling about this point in the season, and I just want to see if you guys are in a similar place. It is this cognitive dissonance that I have where when I think about the roster, I am so much more confident in it than I was at this point last year. Except when it comes to thinking about like winning and how the team will actually perform, I am less confident than I was last year at this point. And yeah, am I alone in this, or are you guys right there with me?
So it's an interesting position to describe. So, I do think that one, Josh Allen is like the definition of a rising tide lifts all boats. Like he makes everything okay. I rattled it off in my game day thread yesterday that, ultimately sometimes it comes down to we have Josh Allen and you don't. And that makes a lot of things okay. When there's woes on the offensive line, when there's questions about which receiver is going to step up, when it's the defense giving up scoring plays, ultimately it's easy to go, well, we have Josh Allen, we're probably okay. But I think a lot of the other things with people stepping up and that we're not sure who it's going to be every week. Last night, it happened to be Dawson Knox, and it happened to be some, big plays in key moments, even from defenders who gave up big plays earlier in the game. And I think now, you know, you can give the coaches a really hard time about how the KC game ended last year, about some really painful lessons learned. But all you can do in those scenarios once you move past it is ask, hey, did you learn from it? Well, we just got like our third game where they perfectly managed the end of game situation to make the game winning kick or game winning play as time expired with no time left for the opponent and managed it exactly down to the T. Well, that's all you can possibly ask. That's the perfect situation to learn from when you left time on the clock and got yourself beat before. So situations like that, I think there's a reason that we've won three straight one score games and are 6-3 on the season in those scenarios. And that those are really all you can ask in some of these situations is to learn from those situations and now keep building on, hey, we're always going to have that Bills fan thought in the back of our mind of, oh my God, I wonder what heartbreaking thing's going to happen next until we ultimately hold a trophy. But besides that gnawing in the back of our minds, letting them show they can learn from those situations is all we can ask.
I think situations like that will come up still where, something's going to happen. We're going to lose a game. Hopefully it's not the last game of the season, right? Like last, the last year, but it's, I do feel a lot more confidence in this team that when those situations arise, that we're going to be on the right side of them, like way, way more than past regimes. It just seems like they've got, they've sort of lowered the degree of variance maybe just by having their stuff together, I guess. And obviously, like Greg said, Josh Allen, he's going to put you in a position where if something comes up, he can erase it, right? If we have a late turnover, where as long as there's time on the clock, Josh Allen can get you into scoring range.
Yeah, that's well said. So, any other questions that come up, just let us know as you guys are going. It looks like the Raiders have maybe made this a game again.
Yeah, I'm watching. I've got Cincinnati and Tampa on still, but I see Scott's in here saying how are the Raiders so friggin' bad.
Well,
So I'm
and
not sure what's going on there.
well, they have yacked away most of this game, but the scoring play is being reviewed now with 32 seconds left, where they're going to tie this up 24-24, and I think it's going to get upheld.
Damn.
Yeah, we'll see. And now,
Yeah.
Has there been anything about Justin Fields? I know that he went out with an injury. Did he come back in the game, or
I
are we going to have a Nathan Peterman reunion next
think
week?
Peterman
That's a great question.
finished the game. I don't know if it was he couldn't come back in or they were being just careful, but I think Peterman finished the game I'm not sure. Let me look.
We
No,
got
no,
support.
no. Fields was in at the end. It looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, that
not rooting. I'm glad he's feeling better.
correct.
But
Correct.
that's
No, it
too
looks
bad.
like he came back in the game. That would have been very entertaining. And they did just uphold the scoring play in New England, Vegas. So the Raiders are about to kick the extra point to tie it with 32 seconds left, or maybe go for two.
Damn.
We'll see.
Meanwhile, Cincy has a 4th and inches to close this one out for all intents and purposes.
And
But
someone just jumped off sides or false start.
we're gonna find out. You'd think
Offside.
they'd know. Offsides. Yep. No, that's over.
So that's game over. Yep.
I mean, they need 2 scores. So there's Tampa still has 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning.
So not
but
officially kneel it out, but for all intents and purposes, that does it.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Wow, they got like half that line to move.
And the Raiders made the extra point, so we have a tie game in New England, Las Vegas.
I wish I could watch that game.
My daughter Ashley is our correspondent. She's letting me know if we have an offsides or who scored. So I think Ryan Tannehill just got a quarterback sneak to tie the Chargers in Tennessee with 48 seconds left. So a bunch of close games here coming into the end.
As funny as it would be for the Bills to square off against a Nathan Peterman-led Bears, I'd like to see. I mean, and of course, obviously, you feel like the Bills have a better chance to win that game, right, with Fields out. But I'd like to see them beat the Bears with Fields in there.
I want to see Fields play just for pure entertainment. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know that I feel
exactly.
dramatically different about the Bears' chances of winning either direction. If I'm being completely honest, the Bills are going to be, if it's Justin Fields, they're going to be favored by 11. If it's, Nathan Peterman, they're going to be favored by 14 and a half. I don't, I think they're probably going to.
I thought you were going to say 35.
37 and a half. It's going to be like Ohio State playing Kent State or something.
Oh man. I mean, of course, we've got a little bit of a bias, and he's got to be at least serviceable if he's still on a roster.
Yeah,
but
technically.
Technically speaking, but you made a great point that the Bears playing the way they did against the Eagles this week, it's perfect locker room material for Sean McDermott as they get ready to play the Bears. It's you don't want to sleep on a team like that. Certainly not at this point in the year when you've got you've clinched a playoff spot. You need one more win out of the next 3 games to clinch the division, but you still want to play hard. You want to win these next 3 games and lock up the first seed and a first round bye, and just be on that upward trajectory as you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean the Bears were winning that game at 1.6-3 with a missed extra point. Then came back and made it 17-13, then came back and made it 25-20, each time having the ball within a possession. So, Philly has been boat racing plenty of teams down the stretch here with their super easy schedule. But the Bears were a game team, and that is perfect Sean McDermott fodder of showing them the Chiefs having to go to overtime against the Texans. That's exactly what they want in these scenarios, to be able to make sure that the guys are focused and have their attention. And I actually like the way this is set up with the weird schedule coming off of the different rest scenarios where the Bills come off a Saturday into another Saturday, so it's not short rest, and then they're going to go from a Saturday to a Monday where they're going to get 9 days to get ready for Cincinnati. So I kind of like that, where they're not going to be caught shorthanded in any tough spots against critical teams.
Yeah, and another interesting. I mean, obviously, it's not going to give us 100% crystal clear picture, but I do like the fact that the Bills are going to play the Bears a week after the Eagles did, and we'll get a little bit of a sense of a measuring stick for Buffalo against Philadelphia,
sure.
Which going into the playoffs, and that easily could be a Super Bowl matchup.
I mean, I think technically right now that's the Vegas favorite for the Super Bowl. That is the most likely outcome of there. It's not, not the saying it is likely, but it is the most likely of any of the possible scenarios right now with the top seed in each conference. So again, just put it out there.
How,
Anybody else who wants to come up and ask any questions, we got plenty of time for people to come say hello.
how are you feeling about how the Bills and the Eagles match up if they end up playing each other?
They're not my first choice. I won't lie. Like playing an athletic quarterback with a dominant running game is not the best scenario for the Bills. Oh my gosh, Justin Herbert just hit Mike Williams on a crazy sideline shot with 14 seconds left to put them into field goal range. What an
That might
unbelievable
swing.
play.
That might swing my fantasy matchup. I have to check that out real quick.
Let me see how long it was. Wait, right here. Yeah, it was just a complete jump ball, and he goes up and gets his toes in. Phenomenal play by Mike Williams, and a nice throw by Justin Herbert. Probably about a 30-yarder down the sideline.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in lockstep in the fantasy playoffs here. So it's like a coin flip.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
I have Williams, so that helps.
Nice. So I actually have Williams as well. It was the 35-yard pass, and I have him in. For anybody who knows what the Scott Fish Bowl is, it's like a huge industry tournament with a bunch of NFL experts and fantasy experts and stuff. It's like, I don't know, a couple thousand people with a ton of huge charity implications. And I've made it through the first 4 rounds of the playoffs, and I have Mike Williams, and I'm like teetering on the edge. I have Aaron Rodgers going tonight and Darius Slayton going tonight, but that every little point is helping me survive with a chance to move on to the next round.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's fun. So wait, Herbert throwing into the end zone. Throws it out. They're just going to go for the field goal to try to win it. So I got asked a couple questions earlier as well about Mitch Morse. And, obviously I want to preface this. We are certainly praying for the best case scenario for him. We're hoping it's a precaution. I talked to a couple people who were sitting on the sideline that watched and said it looked like the trainer was checking out his neck, and he looked very comfortable and normal. He didn't look like the stereotypical wobbling. It wasn't like the stereotypical stuff that you see of like, oh my gosh, that guy was knocked unconscious or had something, terribly concerning. But then he obviously goes and oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna try to describe this. With 0 seconds left, the Patriots were trying to win the game, trying to mess around in a tie game with 0 seconds on the clock. And they tried to do the lateral play to mess around. Ramondre Stevenson went about 35, 40 yards down the field, flipped it to Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers tried to throw it back a little ways and threw it directly to Chandler Jones, who caught the ball and then ran 40 yards the other way for a game-ending touchdown as regulation ended.
Nah, you're making that up.
That play is going to get highlighted forever. That's one of the craziest plays
I'm watching
we've
it.
ever
I'm watching
seen.
it right now.
That's one of the craziest plays we're ever going to see.
Oh, man. Bill, what is going on with Bill?
Oh,
was that Mac Jones that Chandler Jones just stiff-armed into oblivion?
It was, yes.
He just
Chandler
put
Jones
him right in the dirt.
Just stiff-armed Mac Jones into the dirt and then ran 40 yards for a game-winning touchdown. That's one of the craziest
stiff-armed Mac
things I've ever
Jones.
seen.
He stiff-armed Mac Jones right into next season.
Oh, man. And I mean the Patriots already lost that game to the Jets, right? That was on a walk-off punt return.
Yeah. They won that way in the walk-off.
They won
that way. They beat the Jets on a walk-off punt return. They're re-showing it now for anybody watching. I lied. It was 47 yards that he picked it off and stiff-armed Mac Jones and ran it 47 yards the other way for a game-clinching.
I mean, that could be season-ending for the Patriots.
Yes, that literally could be the reason they don't make the playoffs now. That could end their season because a player tried to make a crazy, weird play in a tie game where they simply could have gone to overtime. And he didn't, it's not like you were losing and had to try to make that play no matter what.
What do you think it would take for Bill Belichick to get fired?
Oh, I don't know about fired. You want to know what the answer is?
Hey guys, Cover One is excited to announce our new partnership with BetUS. BetUS has a live wagering on all major games, the best betting variety in the business, and an easy deposit and withdrawal process with the fastest payouts in the industry. Our loyal Cover One fans get a choice between two exclusive offers, either a 125% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,500 or a free $50 bet with no deposit required. Just use promo code COVER1 on the links provided in the show description below. BetUS, where the game begins.
There's absolutely nothing that would make Robert Kraft ever fire Bill Belichick. Even a nasty disagreement, they'd get him to announce his retirement. There's nothing that would make him get fired.
I was thinking the same thing. They would do something, do some other way, like some sort of golden parachute. Where it's like, oh, he's still going to be with the team in an advisory capacity.
Yeah.
They would do something.
Yeah.
And we're paying him $20 million a year.
Yeah, there it wouldn't end as him being fired, but he's certainly making it more fun to watch them lose painfully. That was entertaining. Hey, is that Josh jumping on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys. I just watched the end of that. Oh my goodness. Like the first thing that always just comes to my mind, that plane ride home is going to be hideous. Going from Vegas, all the way back to New England, probably about a 4.5 hour plane ride. Like, what is that? Is that the dumbest play in NFL history? It's got to be top 3. I can't think of one. Maybe the guy running the wrong way, like in the 70s, Jim Marshall, that famous one. But I can't think of a more brain fart play than that ever.
Yeah. I won't be mean. My brain wanted to say Cam Lewis last night, but I won't be mean. Yeah, like it wasn't a do or die scenario. Like all you had to do was like, hey, if he saw a guy streaking going the other way, or you had a chance to throw it across the field to a wide open player, okay, you want to try to make a play, but all you got to do is if you got tackled there, regulation ends and you go to overtime and you keep fighting and you're the better team per se between those two rosters. Like that's so crazy. He's never going to live that down.
I'm not even going to put that on Jacoby Myers, honestly. Like that's Bill Belichick. You don't call that play when all you have to do is You don't do that when all you have to do is go to overtime. I mean, that's what you do if you're going to lose.
Yeah, no, the only time we see the crazy lateral play is you're losing, and that's your only chance to keep a play alive.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah,
that's wild.
He was throwing that back to Mac Jones too, right?
Yes, I don't see any other.
Where's the upside? Where's the upside there? What, Mac Jones is going to have the ball in midfield with everybody in front of him? Well, I mean, he can't throw it again.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That is absolutely crazy. Hey Scott, what's going on, man?
I clicked in when he ran over Mac Jones. I think that might have been the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. He sat him down. He just said,
"Yeah,
you're in my way.
Yeah,
thank you."
I'm gonna watch that
going
over and over and over again.
I need that immortalized as a meme, as a GIF. All of it.
The question to me is: was that Matt Patricia or Bill Belichick calling that stupidity?
So
God.
So in that scenario, that's for sure Matt Patricia calling it. But Bill Belichick is on the headset, and if there's anything that goes through that he's like, hey, what is wrong with you? That's crazy. Don't do that. It wouldn't have happened. So he authorized it to go through.
Greg, you're right. You're right, Greg. Like that play call would have come in, and if Bill Belichick wants to veto it, he obviously has the ability to veto it. So he implicitly, let that happen. So ultimately, it's on him.
Yeah. Patricia made the call, but that he absolutely had the opportunity to be like, no, what's wrong with you guys? Just take a knee and go to overtime.
But again, you asked why are we throwing it back to Mac Jones? What is he going to do? He's at the 40-yard line in the middle of the field with 21 other players between him and the end zone.
Mac Jones is a world-renowned scramble artist. Obviously, that is game-breaking.
This isn't the Pro Bowl. It's not the Pro Bowl where he had that epic run.
Nice.
Yeah, that is a great callback. I forgot he had that running play in the Pro Bowl. While we were enjoying that ridiculous play of the Raiders knocking the Patriots potentially their season ending, at the same time, the Chargers kicked a game-winning field goal against the Titans. So for pure entertainment purposes, we keep the potential of the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the AFC South alive. And I think the current standings, if the season ended right now, the Buffalo Bills would have the 1 seed with the bye. They would play the winner of the Titans and the Ravens. The Chiefs would face the Dolphins, and the Bengals would face the Chargers. And those 4 teams would be on the other side of the bracket: the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Dolphins. And the Bills would get a bye and play the winner of Tennessee, Baltimore. That is picture perfect.
The only issue with that, Greg, is I think they reseed after the first round, so that if there was an upset, if Miami or the Chargers won, they'd come to Buffalo.
Sure. If you
That's fine.
if you had an upset of Chargers, but if our worst case scenario is the Chiefs got knocked out already,
Sure, of course.
We have to play the Dolphins. I'll live with that and figure out a way to survive. Right now, if you could,
we're gonna have to we're gonna have to beat some good teams in order to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's just inevitable.
For sure. I mean, there's no scenario where we get some cakewalk of anything happening. But I actually had a Dolphins fan yelling at me earlier because I tweeted out this scenario. I'm like, hey, if I can pick this, God bless it, I'll take it. He's like, oh, look at the Bills fans afraid of. I'm like, we have the highest strength of victory in the NFL. That means we have beaten the best combination of teams of any team in the NFL. We have more than proven ourselves. I don't need some fake tough guy energy pretending that I need the hardest path to get to a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl. No questions asked, no caveats, no qualifiers. There is nothing that could take away from my team holding a trophy. I want it by any means necessary, and I'll take the easiest path I can get. Thomas, what's going on, man?
I'm sitting here, which, by the way, good evening, Buffalo Bills fans. Greg, Chris, how we doing? I'm sitting here in my hot tub watching this debauchery that is the Raiders and Patriots, which, who would have thought in the God's year of 2022 that we would be watching the Patriots crumble in such fashion as this. But I think what's even more picture perfect or maybe poetic is people come and watch that game yesterday against the Dolphins and they sit there and they say, oh, well, we barely won, right? I think what people need to realize is the NFL, and Jerry Ostrowski said it perfectly, it's hard to win in the NFL no matter what. I think what you've seen over the last couple of days with the Colts folding to the why am I forgetting who they played? Who did the Colts play?
Vikings? The Vikings.
Thank you.
They stole the greatest comeback in NFL history.
Right. So with the Colts losing in the greatest comeback, right? Then you're just seeing this happen. The NFL is filled with parity. And what we need to realize, and Greg, you and I talked about this when we talked about signing Odell Beckham, right? Or whatever path or whatever the season looked like. Because we talked about all different variations prior to the season starting. I think what people need to realize is if the Bills win the Super Bowl this year, it doesn't matter how it happened.
Yep.
You're not going to have an asterisk on the Lombardi trophy saying, oh, well, the Bills won this many close matchups. They almost lost different games. It doesn't matter. It really, in all totality, does not matter. What it comes down to is you find a way to win no matter what. And I guarantee you the Raiders playing the way they did today, and this season has gone off the rails. People thought the Raiders were going to be good. They just won that game in the most fluky of fluky fashions. They're not going to sit there and say, well, we basically won, but they gave it to us. No, they're saying we just won the damn game. That's what happens. I think people need to have a little bit more optimism as an 11-3 Bills team looking forward.
The Raiders are going to be pumped up when they play the Chiefs.
Oh, for sure. Their season is not over. They are not mathematically eliminated. They are still alive.
Oh, man. I'm watching the Bears highlights now. So should we look ahead to the Bears at all?
Yeah.
I did just find I found the replay. Somebody tweeted the replay. I retweeted it. It's amazing.
Yes, I will find it and help retweet that as well. Oh, unbelievable. I just can't believe it. That was such a weird, crazy ending. And now the madness of looking at it, we have the wild card is the Ravens at 9-5, who are reeling right now without their quarterback, just lost again. The Chargers at 8-6, the Dolphins at 8-6, the Patriots are out of it at 7-7, the Jets out of it at 7-7, the Jaguars still alive at 6-8, the Raiders still alive at 6-8, and the Browns still alive at 6-8. Pretty crazy.
If you had to guess right now, Greg, who would you think the wild card teams will be?
I mean, right now, I would actually think that the teams that are in there make it. I don't think the Ravens go so far downhill that they fall out of the playoffs. It's not out of the question. Let me look real quick. They have remaining matchups here. They just lost to the Browns yesterday. They played the Falcons, the Steelers, and then at the Bengals. I just don't see them losing out. I think they beat the Falcons and the Steelers, especially because I think Lamar Jackson is going to come back here at some point.
Right.
So I think they're going to stay, close enough. They might fall down the pecking order. They might not hold on to that 5th seed. The Chargers are a super talented team. The Dolphins, obviously, we saw last night how dangerous they are. I think both of those are just a step above the Patriots and the Jets. And I think those 6-8 teams, although the Raiders and Bengals or the Browns have talent, I don't think they're going to be able to catch up with a 2-game lead from those other teams. So if I had to pick right now, I actually think the Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins in some order maintain those 3 wildcard spots. Or, if anything, it's Tennessee that could fall out and get caught by the Jaguars, who are now only a 1-game lead and still have a head-to-head matchup to go. And if they win the head-to-head matchup, the Jaguars would have the tiebreaker with 2 wins against the Titans.
So wild.
Crazy.
And how about the Bengals finishing up their season against the Bills and then the Ravens? That's not going to be a cakewalk at all.
Yep. Unbelievable. All right. Who else do we have out there? Any other questions coming up here? We got maybe like 5-10 more minutes here. We can keep rolling. So, Chris, how about you? Anything that you disagree with? Do you think one of those teams could go on and run? The Jets defense, the Patriots running game? You think the Raiders stay hot and come here? Or do you think one of the Ravens, Chargers, or Dolphins? How about this? Who's the most likely to fall out of it of the Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like the Chargers, the way that they've been playing, they seem like they're coming on and finally, showing us who we thought they were. So I think the Chargers are going to make it. The Ravens, a lot of it depends on Lamar's health. So I mean, I think there is a chance that they could. The thing is the schedule, right? I mean, they play the Falcons, and then what was the second team you said they play before they wrap up against the Bengals?
Falcons, Steelers, and Bengals.
Yeah, so I mean, those divisional matchups are always going to be tricky. So you can't count on anything there. But you could see there's a potential. They could drop a couple of those games. The Dolphins going into last night, I was thinking that they were a little overinflated. I mean, they played really well against the Bills. I didn't think this was going to be a get-right game for Tua, but in the end, he would play much better against us than he did against San Francisco or LA. But will that continue, right? I mean, so much of the Dolphins and their performance down the stretch here is going to depend on whether Tua can stay consistent and play well.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance that they could fall out. The Jets, I don't know, man. It's one of those teams that I don't know what to expect from them right now. They could go on a run here. They could. They lost to the Lions today, but we were talking earlier about how the Lions are a good team. So
yeah, no, the Lions winning 6 or 7 and your only losses against the number 1 seed Buffalo Bills. That's a legit team that's getting hot, and that honestly, I don't know that all that many NFC teams want to play them in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, they have an offense that can definitely be explosive when they're healthy and when they're clicking.
Yeah, for sure.
The Chargers' last 3 games, guys, are pretty light. They got the Colts next week, and then they finish up with the Broncos and the Rams. So you feel like they might actually end up in the 5 seed.
Wow.
Feels like.
Yeah, that is 3 Vegas wise. That is 3 highly favored wins. They're going to be
talk about 3 teams too that going into the year we thought that would be a really tough end to the season, right?
Yeah, that was a murderous row ending, and now we're laughing about them being more than a touchdown favorite in all 3 games.
Just
They'd be an interesting 5 seed, going to Tennessee, right? Or Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're real live. They'd probably be favored.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they'd be favored on the road in either of those two spots. Matter of fact, I don't think it's crazy if Miami got up to that spot that they would be favored. I don't know that Baltimore would, but I could see that spot. Or if Baltimore were to win against Cincinnati and to maintain that division and take it back from Cincinnati. Cincinnati would obviously be a heavy favorite in that 5 seed. All right.
I did see something earlier. Today. Somebody posted like the lines for the rest of the season before today's games. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but they had the Bills favored by 2.5 over Cincinnati in Cincinnati, and like a hypothetical game against the Chiefs right now in KC would be a pick 'em, and here would be Bills -3.
Okay.
Interesting that we were a 2.5 point favorite in Cincy.
I think that's accurate. I think it's similar to when the Bills were favored in Kansas City earlier this year. I think the Bills are the best roster in the NFL. I think, they have a team that's playing really well, and that I think they're better than those teams, but not so much that it would be more than a field goal. So whether it's pick 'em 1.5, 2.5, or even Cincinnati by 1 or something like that, that's the range I expected. But I would have picked Buffalo by 1.5, Buffalo by 2, that ballpark. All right, guys, I could probably hang out for one more question here if anybody has one more to play with.
I'm just I'm curious, man, to see how this all plays out, because you get into this point of the year and it seems like things are tightening it up, and there are actually more teams that have a chance in the AFC side of things than I maybe thought there were a couple of weeks ago. You had some teams coming back into the mix that are making things real interesting.
Oh my gosh, the fact that the Jets and Patriots and Raiders are all out of the playoffs, and that the 3 wildcard teams are Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins. I mean, the AFC is stacked. Like, it's unbelievable how good this conference is, and it's going to be a murderer's row to get through this run here. It's going to be incredible. Whoever comes out of it is going to, certainly be, a very worthwhile conference champion heading into the Super Bowl.
Can you bet on a Super Bowl winner being from the AFC or the NFC without,
There are books that have favors of AFC versus NFC, and right now I would be shocked if the AFC isn't maybe as far as -150. I bet you that the AFC is a healthy favorite over the NFC right now.
I saw 3.5 this morning, AFC.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think that's absolutely, absolutely the kind of thing I would expect to be the kind of generic spot. Evan, what you got?
Looks like one more guy coming in. Yeah. What's up, Evan?
Great.
Oh, my man. What up, bud?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Chilling, man. I was actually just at the Bucs game, believe it or not. Just left.
Wow.
Just want to say Tom Brady is ass now. Just want to put it out there. He is washed. He's old. Can't throw. The whole team is not going to make it. That division might get them through, but they're out in one round. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
How impressive did Cincinnati look?
Cincinnati look good. They look good, but I'll say a lot of just sloppy turnovers from the Bucs. Put them in the game, short field. I don't know. I think we still got them. But I'll say they're a good team. I'm not going to put any shade on them.
Yeah, I think this maybe, in my opinion, took a little bit of shine off of, oh my gosh, the Bengals are this hot juggernaut. But they're still obviously a very good team, and they just took it to the Buccaneers, who are still a lot of respected names on the roster, even though they're well underperforming.
Exactly. Hey, you never know. You can't count them out, but, I'd like to beat them in the bowl. Comes down to that. Get Tom Brady out. Put him on the stretcher one last time.
Oh, God, you give me – I mean, I had joked earlier about how I got mad at the guy with the fake tough guy energy of like, oh, no, we need to go through the most difficult, slate to make it to the Super Bowl. Screw that. I want the easiest path. But
I agree. But if we get there, I would just like to be the one that finally puts Tom Brady in retirement. The Bills do it after all the time. The storyline is too good for me. writes itself
Well, the
at that point.
combination, it's not even just that. The combination of one, I'd just straight up rather face the Buccaneers than the Eagles or the Cowboys or one of the other like really talented teams there.
That's
I'd
true.
rather face the Buccaneers. And you tell me I get to put the nail in the coffin against Tom Brady? Absolutely. Send me.
Double whammy, baby.
Our man Aaron
Love
here,
it.
just as I'm getting ready to quit for the night, Aaron jumped on late. Anything you want to come say, my friend?
I just watched the Chandler Jones play again.
Oh, God.
Man, this is never gonna get old.
As soon as we hang up here, I'm gonna go watch this like 12 more times. My post was, if I could drink this play, I would need nothing else to nourish my body for life. Like I could just live off of watching that play in perpetuity. I would need no other nourishment for the rest of my life just to watch that play over and over again. Oh,
like I said before, though, man, I'm not even mad at Jacoby Myers. Like he's probably gonna get it from the fan base, but that is a coaching decision that never should have been made.
Oh my gosh, unbelievable! You want to know what's crazy? I don't think that playing the Raiders as a defense in fantasy was a crazy play this week. So I would say, I don't know about most leagues, but in more than half of leagues, I bet the Raiders were a possible defense that was played by someone, and that there were probably fantasy playoff matchups that got decided by that play as a final game-ending touchdown for the defense.
Can you imagine if you lost on that? Yikes!
Oh, that makes me feel even better. It makes me feel all tingly and warm inside. It's just fantastic.
I'm dipping. Y'all.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you jumping on, Evan. That's awesome. You got to go check it out. All right, guys, that's about all I got time for here. It's getting to be bedtime in the Tompsett house here, so appreciate you guys. This was a ton of fun. We'll keep doing these as the week goes. I know Aaron and Chris have been putting these together. I'm sure we'll have some more as the week goes, and make sure you're checking out all the stuff that we have going on over at Cover One. We'll have shows tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We will have the guys in the roundup, then followed up later on that night by Air Raid Hour. Then on Tuesday, we'll go right back in with our guys from Going Deep, going into the film room. And then on Wednesday night with this guy's coverage coming into the Cover One Buffalo podcast with Aaron and myself. And we'll enjoy bringing Aaron's brother, who is a podcaster for the Bears, on to preview Bills Bears as we head
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
I'm just going to sit back and watch the two of them go at each other. It's going to be entertaining. I can't wait.
It's like Christmas week too. Like it's
perfect.
Families around the holidays.
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
It's great.
It's perfect.
Hey, and Greg and Chris, Don and I are going to go live tomorrow morning.
Awesome.
So, if Chris, if you're around and want to join us, Don's trying to get a player to kind of join us for one of these again.
Awesome.
So probably 11 or noon tomorrow.
Very cool. And
on Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, let's do Twitter Spaces. Yep.
And,
cool.
Josh, what do you guys have lined up as far as, do you have a guest already in line for the regular show later on this week?
Yeah, we're. I mean, I hate to. It's 95% sure that we have a really unique guest coming up. We have the daughter of Ralph Wilson.
Oh, very cool.
His only surviving daughter, Christy Wilson, who worked there for a number of years and obviously knows all the ins and outs and has the most amazing Al Davis story you'll ever want to hear.
Awesome. Very cool.
Cool.
I can't wait to check it out. For anybody who hasn't done it.
Great teaser.
Yeah, the stuff that Josh and Don are doing with If the Walls Could Talk in Buffalo, bringing on tons of former players. There's been, all kinds of different perspectives. Recently, Don Beebe and Steve Tasker, and, Don being able to talk about his perspective when he moved the Jets game to Detroit, right as we had our crazy storm come in, and all the stories that Josh has had from his time as a quality control coach there with the team. It's been an awesome perspective and something we're really excited about having with the team here at Cover One. So make sure you guys are checking out those as well.
Yeah, and they post at various times, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that alert bell too. Then you'll know when they're putting stuff out there.
Oh, awesome, guys! Well, appreciate it. It's been a fun one here and a nice, entertaining finish to a nice, stress-free victory Sunday. So appreciate all you guys, and go Bills!
Go Bills!